Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. This is Sean here at Zyxel, and today we are doing our sort of introduction to Nebula. So this is for those of you out there that haven't yet played around with Nebula, those of you that are new partners who are still learning a little bit about our ecosystem that we have here. As we go through today, if you have any questions, feel free to use chat or Q&A to send those questions in. Depending on the question, I'll answer it then and there, or I will save it for the end of today's presentation. Should go pretty quick, probably 20 to 30 minutes today. Just because this is a high-level overview, we're not going too in-depth on it. I do want to start though by talking a little bit about Zyxel and who Zyxel is, just because again, a lot of you out there are new. So Zyxel's been around since 1989, making computer networking equipment. We are a Taiwanese-based company, so that's where our headquarters was. That's where we were originally founded. And our U.S. headquarters was founded right around that same time, out of Southern California, and that's where we still are today. So the U.S. offices, sales, marketing, tech support, that's all handled out of our Anaheim, California location. So Zyxel Networks is who I work for, and we are part of the Zyxel group. And because of that, there's a lot of confusion. So I do want to talk a little bit about that. Wayne's raising his hand. Does that mean he doesn't hear me? Um, so Wayne, if you have a question, type it in with chat or Q&A, or if you can't hear me, type. It probably doesn't help to say this, but if you can't hear me, type it in the chat or in the Q using Q&A in the Zoom interface. So Zyxel Networks is part of the Zyxel group. That's who I work for. And our focus is on business networking equipment. So that is going to be switches, access points, firewall security gateways, things like that. And then we have a sister company known as Zyxel Communications. So Zyxel Communications is focused on the ISP side of things. So they are selling primarily in the US at least, primarily selling CPE devices. So TR069 or Plume managed routers, um, some PON CPE equipment, and that's primarily where their focus is. Now, we have both of these operating here in North America. So if you've been to a trade show, you may have been confused if you went up and saw somebody and started talking about our networking equipment or business networking equipment and they didn't know anything about it. It's probably because those were Zyxel Communications people, and they're pretty much entirely focused on the ISP side of our product selection. And we do have access to both. So Zyxel Networks we can get access to and can sell Zyxel Communications products and vice versa. And then also the only other thing I wanted to highlight here is Mitristar, our manufacturing arm. And let me give just a little pause here for just a second. Okay, continuing on. So now we'll start talking about Nebula. So Nebula, what is it? Well, it was the first full stack cloud management platform for SMB. So what does that mean? So back when we got started, all the way back in 2016 with cloud, um, we were the there was really nobody doing cloud networking aimed at SMB. What was out there was enterprise solutions. Meraki, who had recently been purchased by Cisco, is probably just as today the biggest name out there when it comes to cloud management platforms. And we saw what Meraki was doing, and we said, hey, that would be something that the smaller SMB MSP type of guys, they would probably really like something like that. That was actually affordable because it makes managing networks easy. So that's what we did. We started work on this. I forget what year we actually kicked it off, but we did launch and start shipping product in 2016, full thing, switches, access points, and security gateways back then. And we've continued to expand the number of products. We've continued to expand the functionality in Nebula and make it easier to use. So we are not a Johnny come lately to this space. We are the originators in this space and continue to move forward in it. So the main idea behind Nebula is it just makes things simpler and easier for you to do stuff. Let's see here. Um, So basically, we take all these things that go into setting up and deploying a new network and then managing it, and we try to simplify things, either removing things entirely that you don't no longer need to do, such as, setting up port forwards so you can gain remote access to certain devices, or setting up VPNs to be able to remote into the office to do troubleshooting. Um, so eliminating things like that, or just making things simpler, making it easier for you to find what you're looking to do, making it easier for you to manage those devices. So in the end, it saves you time, it saves you money. So now we'll continue on here by going through some of the features here in Nebula. So one of the first cool features about Nebula is you can fully configure a product without taking it out of the box. Hold on just a second here. There we go. Um, So basically, most of the products will have a QR code on the outside of the box or on the belly label of the product itself. You simply scan that QR code, assign the device to one of your customers in one of their sites, and at that point, you have full access to manage that device. So you can set it up, fully configure it, and then when your tech gets on site, all they have to do is plug it in. As long as it has power and an internet connection, it will know that you want to manage it in the cloud. It will put itself into cloud mode and it will automatically download that configuration you've done for it. So the guy on site doesn't need to go into the device, doesn't need to log into it. Your techs at your office, they don't need to go into it. They don't need to directly access it. All they have to do is scan that QR code. So Nebula's got a number of tools and wizards that are designed to make it easy to get up and running in just a few minutes with a brand new network. Um, so it's really handy and easy to get set up and get going. So to use Nebula, you need nothing else. You just need to buy a Zyxel Nebula compatible hardware and you are good to go. Um, so the Nebula agent is built into our hardware itself. So you don't need a cloud key. You don't need to install software on a server somewhere. You don't need to set up your own cloud instance anywhere. There's nothing you need to do. We run the cloud for you. It's hosted on Amazon AWS servers. And like I said, the agent is built into our hardware itself. So you're good to go. Nothing else you need to do. Again, Nebula's whole philosophy is making things simpler and easier, not making them harder for you. One of the cool things about Nebula is you're using Nebula, you've got access to all of your customers and all of their Nebula compatible hardware. Anywhere you have access to an internet connection and a web browser. Everything is done through the cloud. So Nebula's got some cool tools. So one of the things we have in here is we have the ability to have a cloud-hosted user database that you can use. You can use this for 802.1x authentication. You can use this for captive portal authentication. Whatever you need it for, we have that as an option for you as part of the Nebula interface. Um, we make it easy for you to deploy guest networks. So whether we're talking about a public hotspot or we're talking about just a separate SSID for vendors who are visiting who need access to the internet or maybe need access to a couple shared resources such as a printer or file server, we make that super easy to do. All of our access points have the full functionality needed to do their own captive portal. So even if you're not using our gateway, you can still do full captive portal just by using our access points. And that includes a built-in login page that gives you a lot of flexibility. You can have people log in just by clicking that they agree to terms of service that you define for them. You can have them log in with the username and password that you provide them. You can have them register an email address before they get online. Whatever you want to do, we've got that flexibility for you. And we also give you the code. So if you want to add additional features or additional data gathering that we don't have as part of our built-in captive portal functionality, we give you the code that you can copy and paste into your own custom landing portal for that captive portal there for you. If you don't have access to VLANs for whatever reason, you can't configure VLANs to put those guests on their own separate VLAN, no problem. We've got the ability to isolate those guests for you. We can put them on their own subnet, where the access point acts as a NAT DHCP server to give them all their own subnet. And then we can use what's called layer 2 isolation, where we block the clients from being able to send packets to any device on the network unless you have explicitly put them in um, as a whitelist. So you can whitelist just your router if you only want to give them internet access. You can whitelist a printer if you want to give them access to a network printer to print stuff off. Very easy to use. And all configuration changes, all firmware updates are done through the cloud. So everything you're going to do whenever you need to change something, you just do it through the Nebula interface, and it will automatically push that out. Now, this does lead to something that causes a little bit of confusion if you've never used a cloud management platform before, and that is there is a delay between when you make a configuration change in the cloud and when that configuration change has been updated on the device itself. So in theory, it should always be less than a minute, but realistically, sometimes it can take 2 to 3 minutes for a configuration change to be pushed out. So that is something you are going to have to adjust to, that you do need to wait a minute. And you can go and check in the Nebula interface, and it will tell you if the configuration change has been pushed out already to that device or not. So instead of having to guess, you can simply change over to that tab that you've got open that shows all the devices, and it will show you which ones have been updated, which ones have not yet been updated to the new configuration. So all of our access points support our smart mesh functionality. So this is something that's built in as part of Nebula that makes it really easy. Essentially, you turn on smart mesh, and that's pretty much all you have to do. Your access points can connect to other access points wirelessly to bridge your wired connection through. And most of our access points also support a bridging mode, so you can easily use the mesh plus bridging to then be able to connect additional wired network resources to that access point, and it will bridge them back to the rest of the network over the wireless mesh. If you're using our Wi-Fi 7 access points, this is automatically using MLO, so multi-link operation. So the mesh will automatically use two radios to create that mesh network. So you get faster speeds with aggregation. You also get more tolerance or more redundancy to help deal with issues like interference across one of those bridge links. So our access points have all the features you would expect: WPA2, WPA3 enterprise security, which uses radius authentication, as well as things like fast roaming, 802.11r, K, and V. On the switch side of things, we make it really easy for you to see what's going on with your switches. All of your switches will virtually stack, so it allows you to configure ports across multiple switches at the same time. You also have a nice visual cue letting you know which ports on that switch have something plugged into them, what speed that connection is, and whether or not PoE power is being used on it. We also have a number of tools in there that let you see things like, bandwidth utilization on the switch or on the port over a certain period of time. You also have tools in there to let you do some basic troubleshooting, such as, a trace route and things like that. And of course, on the switches, they have all those features you would expect to find: 802.1x authentication on a port basis, the ability to do loop guard, DHCP guard, the ability to do LACP links, etc. So when it comes to Nebula, the first question we get is, how much does it cost? And the short answer is the core base version of Nebula is absolutely free. This free version of Nebula lets you manage an unlimited number of devices, an unlimited number of sites, an unlimited number of customers. There are no caps there. So this is something that sets us apart from most of our competition. Most of them these days have require that you buy licenses in order to use their cloud platform, or if they offer a free tier, it is usually limited to a certain number of devices or only one or two customers. We don't put any of those restrictions in place. So let's talk a little bit about Nebula Flex. So back when we started Nebula, we copied the Cisco Meraki way of doing things. If you wanted cloud, there was a specific SKU that supported cloud. If you wanted traditional management, there was a certain SKU that did traditional management for you. Let me turn off my phone notifications so those aren't so loud, if it'll let me. So we got away from that. So now everything is what we call Nebula Flex. Basically, we have one SKU, one piece of hardware. You can use Nebula Cloud to manage it, or you can use traditional management. You don't have to choose, and it's standardized on the same SKU for all customers, those that you're using cloud to manage, those that you aren't using cloud to manage. So the way it works is by default, a device is in standalone mode. So it's your traditional management where you go to the IP address, you SSH in, you log into a web browser, you do your configuration, you use SNMP, whatever it is. But if you want to use it in the cloud, it's really easy to do. You scan the QR code on the device, assign the device to a customer of yours and to a site. And once you have done that within a minute or so, that device will see that you now want to manage it in the cloud, and it will automatically switch from standalone mode to cloud mode and will automatically download the configuration off the cloud. If at any point you decide you no longer want to manage it in the cloud, maybe you're swapping it out at your customer site, you're moving it back to your lab, whatever it happens to be, it's really easy. You log into Nebula, you find that device, you remove it from your Nebula inventory, and it will automatically detect that, and it will put itself into standalone mode and factory reset itself. So that is a very key thing here, though. Configurations are not shared between the two modes. So if you put it in cloud mode, it downloads and uses the configuration you've set for it in the Nebula Cloud. When you put it back into standalone mode, it factory defaults itself and gives you a blank configuration. So something to keep in mind. So we do have optional licenses that you can buy. So the main version of Nebula is called Base Pack. So it gives you access, like I said, the ability to manage an unlimited number of customer sites and devices, and it gives you access to all the core functionality of those devices. The majority of our customers are using this right here. We do offer some optional licenses which unlock additional features for you, particularly for those of you that are doing MSP or some other form of managed services where you need to proactively manage your customer site. So we'll start here with Base Pack is the free version. Then we've got Plus and Pro. So we've got Plus Pack and Pro Pack. I'm going to kind of skip Plus Pack. It's there to compete with like the cheap Netgear Cloud. We sell very few of these. Most people, if you're going to pay for a license, you go up to the Pro Pack. So we'll just kind of focus on Pro Pack. So Pro Pack costs you retail roughly about $30 per device per year. And it unlocks some extra functionality for you. It unlocks things like greater logs stored in the cloud. It unlocks additional admin accounts you can have per each customer, and it unlocks some AI tools. And we'll get a little bit more in depth into that a little bit later. Now, to convert your customer from the free version to Plus or Pro Pack, you do need to buy a license for every device that customer has in the Nebula interface. So you do this on a customer organization basis. You don't do it on a... So it's kind of confusing. You need to buy a license for each device in that org, and then it converts the entire org over to the new level. And then the other license we have is the MSP pack. So this is a user license. You buy this license for one of your users or admins, and it unlocks additional features for that admin that gives them access to some additional things like a view to easily look at all your customers, the ability to set up admin teams to make it easier to add and remove admins to customers when you've got a large staff, or you've got a large staff plus a lot of customers. It makes it a little bit easier to manage things like that. And the MSP pack is roughly $100 per admin per year, and you only do this on the admins that need those extra features. You don't have to buy it for all of your admins. So just to try to make some more sense of that, the way Nebula is structured is you have the account owner, that is who owns the Nebula interface, and that's usually going to be your super admin, whoever the boss is. He's going to be considered your account owner. And then you can have additional admins underneath him. Underneath the account owner is what we call in Nebula an organization. So that is your customer. So each of your customers will be at least a organization, and in some cases you may have customers with multiple organizations. But each customer usually is going to be their own org. You don't want to put multiple customers in the same organization. And then under that organization, you have your sites. right? So if you have multiple customers, you'll have multiple organizations, and then each customer has their own sites. If you want to upgrade one of these customers to ProPack, for instance, then you need to buy a ProPack license for every device that that customer has in that organization. So if you have 50 devices, you will need to buy 50 licenses, and then it will convert the organization to ProPack and unlock those extra features. If every device does not have a license, it will not convert the org to ProPack. It will stay on the free version. So just keep that in mind. Every device needs to have a license. You can't just buy licenses for some of your devices. It has to be all of those devices under that customer. And your other orgs will continue to function on the free version. And then the MSP license is then assigned to admin accounts. So it gives you access to some additional features. As I was mentioning, it lets you create these admin teams. It lets you do configuration changes and maintenance across multiple customers simultaneously, rather than having to go in and make changes on a customer by customer basis. So this slide's kind of out of date, but this is giving you an idea of what's going on here. Which of our devices support Nebula? And the short answer is these days, basically everything that's aimed at the SMB space does. The only things missing from Nebula are some of our lower end switches and more consumer oriented products. Now you will see, if you're looking at the price sheet, some products are called Nebula Flex and some products are called Nebula Flex Pro. So all the Pro is telling you is that that device comes bundled with a 1-year ProPack license. You don't have to use it, but it is there if you want it. So when it comes to our APs, our NWA series APs are Nebula Flex. Our W series APs are Nebula Flex Pro. Switches, it's a little bit more confusing. Basically, if it starts with 1915 or higher, so not the 1900s or the 1910s, but 1915 and higher, those are Nebula Flex. And then if it's 2000, 3000, or 1300 series switch, it is ProPack, so it comes bundled with that 1-year license. On our security devices, the more consumer-oriented SCR50 and USG Lite 60AX, those are Nebula Flex, as are any USG Flex or USG Flex H series, which is sold as standalone mode. Those are Nebula Flex. If it comes bundled with a 1-year UTM license or a 1-year gold license, then that also includes the 1-year ProPack. So we'll go into a little bit more depth here really quick on the differences here between the free version and ProPack. This is on our website, so you can find this pretty easily by searching it on Google. Or you can always reach out to your salesperson, and we've got a much more in-depth version of this that our salesperson can provide to you if you want to reference it. But we'll just go quickly through the differences between free and pro. So both of them free cloud management, both of them unlimited number of devices, both of them firmware scheduling, all that fun stuff. So the first area where we hit some differences is when it comes to log storage. So the free version of Nebula only stores 24 hours worth of logs in the cloud. We do have the ability to export those logs as syslogs, so you can set up your own syslog server and store as many logs as you want. But if you want to use our cloud-hosted database, 24 hours for the logs for the free version, 1 year worth of logs on the ProPack version. And then in addition to the 1 year of logs on ProPack, we also throw in there an audit log, which tracks who made configuration changes. Another area of difference here is how many admin accounts you can have for each org. So again, each of your customers is considered their own org. So each customer gets 5 unique admin accounts with the free version. ProPack, an unlimited number of admin accounts per customer. We have that cloud-hosted user database that you can use. You can always set up your own Radius server and don't have to use ours. But if you want to use ours, free version gives you 50 entries. ProPack, unlimited number of entries. And then we start getting into things here which the free version doesn't have. So what are the things the free version doesn't have? The ability to automatically generate reports with some visual aids and email those to yourself or your customer. You can also rebrand those and put your own logo and stuff in them. So if you're having them emailed to your customer, they see your logo when they open them up. So that's a ProPack feature. An automatic topology view. We will map out your network for you and show you which devices are plugged into which other devices to help you with troubleshooting. That's a ProPack feature. We have a number of what we're calling AI or machine learning, whatever your word is for it. We have some AI features to help you with troubleshooting and managing wireless networks and IPTV. Those are ProPack features. The ability to back up and restore switch and I think security these days configs, ProPack feature. The ability to use to clone existing sites or to create templates to push out configuration changes, ProPack feature. If you want to use collaborative detection and response, where the access points coordinate with the security gateway to provide additional security, that is a ProPack feature. So here's an instance here of the automatic topology view. As you can see here, you're trying to troubleshoot a user. You can see that user, what type of device they have, which access point it's connected to, and which switches are upstream of that. You can also click on some of these, and there's some very basic functionality you can do through the automatic topology view. ProPack unlocks DPPSK. As long as you're not using WPA3, you can use DPPSK. DPPSK does not work with WPA3, but it is there for you. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've got some AI tools that can monitor your wireless network, alert you to issues, or automatically make some configuration changes for you. If you are doing IPTV video streaming, it will monitor those and let you know some of the issues your users are seeing that you might not be aware of and suggest what you should change to make those better. And one of the other cool features we have on the switches is a automatic VLAN feature where we can see the MAC address of the device when you plug it into a port, and we can automatically assign it to a specific VLAN and certain priority based on that MAC address. It uses what's called the OUI, or the first, I think it's 6 digits of a MAC address that are shared amongst all devices of that model and brand. So a nice, easy way to automatically put things on a VLAN for you. And then on the security side of things, if you're using our security gateways, we make it very easy to set up site-to-site VPNs. You just click the sites you want to connect together, choose the topology you want to use, and we'll do it automatically for you. There are also a number of tools here for remote workers to make it easier for them to VPN back into the office. We have our SSL VPN software you can use. We have two-factor authentication using Google Authenticator. We have scripts that can automatically configure iOS, Windows, and Apple devices to use their built-in VPN to connect back to the office. We also have the ability to convert an access point into a cloud-managed VPN appliance. So the employee just takes that access point home, plugs it into their existing home router, and it'll take care of everything else there to get them onto the VPN. And then Nebula interfaces with our cloud-hosted security gateway, the SecuReporter. So SecuReporter is a cloud-hosted tool which helps visualize what the security appliances have been doing. So we make it really easy to jump between Nebula over to SecuReporter and back. So some questions we get on Nebula here. I wanted to go through these really quick for you. So one of the first questions we get is, okay, where is it hosted? Are you hosting it on your own server somewhere? And the answer is no, we use Amazon AWS. And we've been pretty resilient. Even when Amazon is having AWS outages, things tend to keep going. But that does lead to a question, which is what happens if the cloud goes down? What happens if my customer's fiber gets cut and they lose internet access? And the answer to that is nothing happens. Everything continues to function just as it has been functioning. It's just you lose the ability to make configuration changes. We lose the ability to gather logs because we don't have that connectivity. If you are using something like the cloud-hosted user database, we give you the option to choose what happens when the cloud goes down. Do you want to block all of those people, basically turn off that authentication, or do you want to just automatically allow them through up until that cloud-hosted user database is back online? Let's see, what else do we have here? So another question we get is how secure is the communication between the Nebula devices and the Nebula cloud? And the answer is it should be pretty secure. We are using an industry standard called NetConf. to handle the encryption and the handshaking and all of that. So it's an open standard that we follow. We haven't tried to, Frankenstein something together in-house. So you don't have to trust us. You can just know we are using that open standard. So we are doing what we need to do there to keep everything secure for you. Another question we get is, can we use this if our customer needs PCI compliance or if they need HIPAA compliance? Or if they've got some locations in Europe and they need to comply with GDRP? And the answer to all of that is yes. Nebula, the cloud hosted part here, doesn't store any user information. LAN traffic stays on the LAN. WAN traffic goes immediately out to the internet. Nothing goes through our servers except for configuration changes and logs. So because of that, you absolutely can use this when it comes to HIPAA or PCI. In addition to that, if you have European customers, we are GDRP compliant. And if it sees it's being connected to from a European location, it will automatically switch over to the servers and the configuration that is required on the back end to comply with GDRP. So just a quick summary here for you. The idea behind Nebula is it makes things simple. It's easy to deploy, it's easy to configure, it's easier to clone what you're already doing for other customers. So it makes things easier for you, simplifies things, means you don't have to send somebody on site that knows how to configure things. It'll just happen automatically. It's very reliable. We are hosting it in Amazon AWS. There are very few true outages. Every now and then, Amazon AWS is having issues. Some ability to configure something may be temporarily broken, but everything just continues to chug along. And it scales for you. So no matter how many devices you have, no matter how many customers you have, it automatically scales to keep up. So just to finalize today, if this sounds interesting to you, we do have a free Nebula demo online. You can log into it anytime you want. You just go to the Nebula page, nebula.zyxel.com. And instead of logging in, there's a button underneath the logins that says demo. Click on that and it will take you over and give you a choice of demo sites. These are real active sites that are being used. And we give you read-only access to those sites to keep an eye on things. In addition, I believe we are still doing our 60-day demo kits. So if you're interested in getting a 60-day demo kit, reach out to your salesperson, Andy, David, or Jacob, and they can help set you up with that, assuming you are an authorized Zyxel partner, and we can get you hooked up with that. So any questions, go ahead and send them in using question and answer. So Wayne is asking about a checklist for setting up VPN client. Reach out to your salesperson. They can probably help you with that. If they don't have access to something like that already, our security PM Tri or our sales engineer Marcus can probably help put something together for you. All of our webinars are recorded, so you can find those on our YouTube channel, Zyxel America channel. And if you're one of those LinkedIn people, which I am not, you can connect to us at Zyxel US channel. And my email is up there on the screen right now. I'm going to go ahead and end things because I don't see any other questions coming in. But I am Sean R at Zyxel.com. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. So thank you for turning out today. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope to see you at one of our future webinars.